some backstory, and you just talking about the 30s. We're not even talking about the 60s, 70s, right? And we're talking about for us as black people, this is like Jim Crow.
But it wasn't. Listen, Pahokee
Was
in particular,
right.
When we talk about Palm Beach County, I won't talk about anything else but Palm Beach County.
Come on,
we were the first to the black-white thing. We were the first to integrate.
Start squashing this, right?
Yeah. So even when it came down to farming, there were blacks and whites there. There were blacks and whites there. I just read it. There were blacks and whites present.
You answered my question.
Right. So the opportunity
was there
to develop, to create wealth for yourself
was
there. And they didn't even charge you to farm there at the time.
Right.
Now later on, we talk about there was a time when they divided the land into parcels and things like that or whatever for people to actually purchase. Right. But when we talk about the rush was, listen, come to Pahokee.
Right.
The crops are there. The land is there. It's protected by the natural, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the natural high ridge that we have.
Yeah.
That is now downtown.
Yeah.
It was protected.
Yeah.
And you could come here and you could farm crops at high market value. You know, you can get, you know, the prices of our crops skyrocketed. And we served this whole region all the way to the coast. We served them.
Yeah.
We fed them.
Whoa, bro, I'm looking at this picture. Oh, my gosh. This picture of Pahokee, bro.
Is that the aerial view?
This is No, this is not the aerial view. This is like, I see the aerial view.
Okay.
Bruh, this junk is crazy. Wow.
So we have a lot to be proud of, man.
A lot.
We have a lot to be proud of.
A lot. And see, my question is, because, I'm immigrant. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm an immigrant. My idea of the muck is only to work. Mm-hmm. People, my people only came here to work. Right? You farm the land. But we're coming as hired hands. Right? We're coming, almost 60, 70 years after this boom. Right? Mm-hmm. And so my viewpoint of this is from a very, why does it look like this? Why is this like this? Why isn't this because you would imagine, you would think, and I'm about to go into something about that. Now I'm about to go on a soapbox. Like you would think, like a place that's such a cash crop, right, in Palm Beach County, what happened for it not to be like this booming, developed, like it's supposed to go up because everybody got to eat. Yeah. You always got to eat. Food is always necessary. It's like farming, and I'm not saying like, I know there's an allotted amount of land that you need to farm. You can't go and take all that and start developing on it, right? But even if you did, you still got the dike. You still got the lake. Right. The lake is a cash crop. Right? You know what I'm saying?
It's all right, but it's not the soil. There's nothing like that.
Right. That
soil.
Yeah, the soil is everything. But my thing is like, what happened? Like, what happened that?
All right, so now let's dive into it then.
Okay.
All right, so first of all, any high highs are usually followed by low lows.
Yeah.
So we go from farmers rushing in and creating wealth for themselves to now we got the sugarcane industry pretty much taking over, right? So guess what? Here's the problem though. Sugarcane, the process was mechanized.
Yeah.
And when you mechanize something, when people usually did the labor, now you have machines doing the labor.
Yeah.
So it affects the number of jobs that were actually available. All hands can't be on deck when you have machines doing, much of the work that people could have been doing.
Right.
So you lost some jobs there. You lost a lot of jobs there.
A lot of jobs.
All right. So that's one thing. I spoke with Derek Berry, and like I said, he's one of the most intelligent guys I've ever met.
Yeah, cool guy.
And he pointed out something to me that was also part of our problem on the muck, and that is we lost our middle class.
Yeah.
We lost them.
Yeah.
So this is where we
To
are
what?
right
What do
now.
you think? What do you think? What do you think caused that?
I don't know. I don't know. For whatever reason, we lost them.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
they made their money, and
And jetted.
they
Yeah.
maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe
Because when I think about black people that are from this area, because there's a lot of them live in Palm Beach. And when
okay.
I say that, I'm not talking about like recent years.
Right.
I'm talking about like I know folks that they grew up here they were either born here or came here, let's say 1920s, 1930s. Their parents came here or their grandparents came here. Parents grew up here, made and then they moved west. They moved.
Okay.
I mean west. I mean they moved east. They
Okay.
moved east. I know a couple of folks like that. Like, and I know a lady in Del Rey like that.
Right.
I know a couple of families in Del Rey like that. And they moved that way and stuff like that. So I could kind of see how that could happen. Yeah.
Well, maybe we didn't do a good job in terms of local city government in meeting these people's needs as well.
That's true.
Maybe there was something that we didn't do to keep them.
Yeah.
So we lost them, and when we lost them, you got to realize when we lost them, like it's like the middle class. It's not just a financial thing. It's also the mindset.
Yeah.
Different. It's been proven that different people on different levels, poor, middle class, and upper class, they think differently when it comes down to a lot of things. Everything from how they deal with their children and what they
Right.
teach their children,
Right.
what they instill in
Right.
their children,
Right.
things like that. So there clear differences in terms of the mindset of people who are in poverty versus people who are in middle class and upper class.
Yeah.
So think about this: people who are middle class, usually they make more money,
Yeah.
right? Usually they invest more in their children in terms of tutoring, in terms of other supports,
Yeah.
things like that. And usually, people who are middle class attract other businesses,
Right.
right? So if we're making a lot of money, businesses will come because people in middle and upper class have disposable income.
Yeah.
People who are in poverty, they don't have disposable income.
But here's funny though, when I'm thinking about Belglade in the early 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, you had one of the first black-owned funeral homes in Belglade, right? That Taylor, it was West back then. I think Taylor and West, one of the first, one of the first ones out there. You had, and if I'm not mistaken, the person who owned it, not the funeral home, I'm talking about like some of the other business, like cab companies, black-owned cab companies, stuff like, they were from Pahokee. They're from Pahokee, and they just service Belglade, Pahokee South Bay.
And you know what's crazy? My brother's dad, he was a cab driver, and Mr. James,
Come on.
James Gladman.
Wow.
That's what he did. And
Wow.
I'm talking about, that was, like I said, even when I was a kid, I saw these things, and that's when we had the skating rink back then.
I remember that.
Right between
Skater,
Polk and Begley, right
bowling alley. We had a bowling alley.
I remember the bowling alley
Had
in
a bowling
Belgrade.
alley. Yeah.
And we had to drive in. Remember that?
Jeez,
We had to drive in.
I still remember that. Like it hurt me. I remember being a kid. It hurt me when they shut it down.
Right. But if you think about it, at the end of the day, it's a business.
It is.
At the end of the day, the bowling alley is a business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the skating rink is a business, right? And when we talk about middle class, people with disposable income, people who can afford to spend that money on a regular basis to entertain themselves and their families.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
As the middle class goes, so do the businesses.
Yeah.
As the middle class goes, our schools are also negatively impacted because middle class people are a certain way with their children.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Right.
Right?
But here's the thing though. I think there's something else we got to talk to also to that. And I was talking to somebody about it. They said this to me, and I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. with that mindset, sometimes comes people telling their children. It's that old thing where you got a guy that has a business and he tells his kid, "Man, I don't want you. This is some hard work. I don't want you to do this. I want you to do something better."
Mm-hmm.
But Dad, you got a business.
Right.
Why don't you tell me to come and run your business one day?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me, "Hey, go be a doctor. Go be a lawyer." I don't want. So I think there's this idea too. Part of that, whatever middle class we did have, they didn't encourage their children to come back to help support and to help sustain this community.
But what would they come back to?
Right. That's the other problem.
And that's what, when you talk to people, there are a lot of successful people from the muck, and they're all over the country, in different places of the world.
Yeah, I know.
And they love the muck, but what can they come back to? We haven't done a good job of creating opportunities for them to come back and have an impact on our community.
Yeah, but
right?
I think see,
as the middle class goes, so does crime increases.
Yeah. But it's all that. But here's the other thing, though, bro. I think other thing we gotta look at, and this is just true to any community, right? What we're talking about, not just our community, but I think it's true to any community. Is the fact is that we have certain things that are not addressed, right? You got certain people that, because with all that poverty, somebody's making money. Somebody's making money in there, right?
What do you mean?
There's money being made. Like, it ain't just like it ain't like this. You have all this land and the land it just went drought. We didn't have a drought.
No,
we didn't have a drought. We didn't have a flood. We still see since I've been living in, my family came to Belgrade when I was 4 years old. So since 83, 84, 83, we came here.
Okay.
There's never been, even when there was a freeze in 90 something, there were still crops. Right. So we've never had a stop in crops.
Right.
So the farming has still been happening.
Okay.
So money's been being made.
Yeah.
But the money been staying only in one place. Does that make sense?
Okay.
That money has not been coming out to bring in.
But here we go again.
Right.
At the same time, it's like, if they're mechanizing, then it's gonna affect jobs.
It is, but I also feel like there are other ways. Because money brings money. Money brings money. Like, we know this. Money brings money. There are certain things in a place like this. I'm just gonna come clean.
Come clean.
I feel like there are certain powers that be that want Belgrade not Belgrade, just Belgrade. They want the Glades area to be as it is, to be in the state that it is right now, because it benefits their bottom dollar. Because it doesn't. It's. I mean, imagine a booming Glades area. Like,
but
I remember, and you could probably remember this too. Was it like late 80s, well, mid 80s, early 90s, on a Friday night? All those buses.
It was crazy.
I mean, you would see dudes coming off the bus with a pocket full of cash, and they just go into stores buying up everything. Mm-hmm. And then I can like every time I pass by certain areas in Pahokee and Belglade, I could like those images are seared in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. And then I can remember when it just went away.
Yeah.
I remember when it went away. And there was nothing active to bring it back.
Right.
It was, and so I'm thinking so in my mind, I'm either thinking because like I said, you're right. You mechanize all these things, right? But at the same time, other things could have been brought in through other means. It didn't have to be through the crops. Right. You could have brought other things because you have another. If you say, okay, now we're mechanizing the farming, but what does that got to do with the lake? Like, you could bring a whole tourism while you're farming.
But see, that's the thing though. The lake was And I could be wrong. I've never known the lake to be the actual moneymaker like that. It was the soil. It was the farmland, and then farmland brought a lot of people, and a lot of people, in their recreational time, they spent time at the lake.
Right.
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 So I don't look at the lake like it was, and I could be wrong, but I don't look at it like it was the moneymaker or the main attraction.
Right.
And it's funny that every time we have elections and things like that or whatever, people bring that up.
Right.
As if the lake is the answer to all Pahokie's problems. The lake didn't make Pahokee, right? The soil did.
Yeah, but the soil is, for lack of better words, it's under the hands of only a few right now.
But all I'm saying is, what made Pahokee, what brought the people,
right,
was
the land,
the soil,
right,
not the marina. The marina was also an attraction, but it's secondary to the soil.
Right.
All right. So, at the end of the day, what made you?
Right.
My thing is,
stick to what made you.
What made you?
But I don't think. I should say this. I see what you're saying, but I don't. In our modern day and time. Well, let me not say it like that, because this might be heard 100 years from now, and they be like, "What was this guy saying? We're doing it right now." But I'll say this much, because this might be the conversation to bring that back.
Okay.
There is nothing active to push agriculture in our community in a way that is sexy, that is attractive, right? Because in our minds, those of us that grew up here, we've always seen agriculture as that low base, poor man thing that you do. We've never seen it as...
Nobody told us that farmers were millionaires. And all around the world, all around the country, and probably even the world, where there are farms, these people got bread.
They're the wealthiest.
Right. We're under the impression that farming is like a poorest man idea. Right. These people got money.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other part about that. We think it's a poor man's thing. And then after that, we don't understand that this country's ideals are wealth. The foundation of wealth in this country is only land. It's nothing else. Like I heard, you heard Dr. Claude Anderson. And Dr. Claude Anderson said something. He said something. He said the problem that we have in reference to black people. He was saying problem black people have is that we think there's value in our sweat.
Right.
Nobody sees no value in your sweat.
True.
Your sweat has no value.
True.
I don't care how much you dance. I don't care how much you chuck and jive. I don't care what. Your sweat has no value. The things that have value is land, farming. Those are the things that have value in this country, and wealth building. Those are the only things. Like your sweat, your this have no value. And I think we were taught. We've been brainwashed to think that the thing that should have been bringing us wealth, that we should have been running towards, we were told to run away from.
All right. And I think some of that stuff was systematic because Dr. Martin Luther King talked about the same things. When you had other immigrants to come into America who were given farmland, who were taught how to farm, and who were taught how to mechanize, and that's how they got their wealth. Right. So I think this is a lesson, for us. In terms of understanding history, we don't give much attention to history and how people accumulated wealth. All right. So because we don't have that history, oftentimes we don't value what's right underneath our feet, literally. Right. So we didn't know that history. We didn't understand that history. So we couldn't, take advantage of an opportunity. We're born and raised here. We've been here. Multiple generations of our families have been here, and some of us have participated and still to this day participate in it in one way or another. Whether it's using driving trucks and things like that or whatever. Like some of us are still doing that.
Bruh, check me out. I was talking to my dad yesterday. Yesterday, and we were talking about how He was telling me about people he knew here that are from the Glades area. Specifically, I think he was talking about some folks he knew in Pahokee. He was talking about a guy in Pahokee. This guy name was Green.
Mm-hmm.
He had a whole bunch of trucks.
Right.
In Pahokee, like when you go, I think off that what's that other old? I call it the old road.
Okay.
The old road, right? He had a big trucking company. Like he had like what do you call it? The corn trains and all that stuff. He had like all that.
Yeah.
But then when he had it, he was making a lot of money. But then I think he died, and his kids sold it.
Right.
Right? Like when he said that to me, I said, "What?" I said, "Whoa." I said, "What? They did what?" He said. My dad was like, "No, I know they sold it." Because my dad used to work for the state. Like they had the job service, and they were like a farming bureau thing. They would go check on like the immigrants working. Right. And he was telling me he was one of the guys that was one of the people that everybody went to that wanted a job. If you first came in the country,
right.
Haitians, Jamaicans, Bahamians, they first came in the country, Mexicans, they would go there because he was one of the easiest guys to get on with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They say he was a penny pitcher, but he was the easiest guy, whatever. And he had a ton of workers.
Okay.
And made money, right?
Right.
But I think either when he passed or he got sick, they didn't hold on to it. They let it go.
Right. And that's another problem. We still deal with that today.
Yeah.
Our families, we have families who create a solid foundation for their children, and their children are not interested. So they go and I guess they try to go and create or recreate an entirely different foundation than the one that was set before them.
Right.
That's another problem that we have.
And I think that's what that's a part of it. I think some folks need to, like, I feel like if you have at least those individuals that have at least more than 3 to 4 generations in the community, right? You need to go and research what properties do you still have in the community. I really, because most likely you have your grandmother, great grandmother, probably still got some property y'all ain't looked into.
But if somebody's not interested, then they're not interested. So
But then we're in this whole craze now, though. And I'm saying this in a sense because, now we're in this, especially with us black folks. Right. We're in this whole craze of, entrepreneur, but we're looking for the sexy things, right? Mm-hmm. We're looking for the sweat, the stuff that looks good, but that stuff those are fads. Mm-hmm. Go and get the, man, I'm going to give you, okay. Like right now as we speak, my grandfather on my dad's side got tons of land in Haiti. Right, tons of land in Haiti. The only reason I am not in Haiti right now, farming that land, is because Haiti has some political issues right now. Okay, and they give guys that are in the States, they give you a lot of issues as far as because they want you to give them all the money and do all the stuff, and you go back the way you was at, right? Because you're not here. Mm-hmm. But if it was not for that, if Haiti was in a place where I could go, man, I would be in Haiti right now, farming that land, making bank, connecting with. And I'm saying that for myself in the sense that those of us that are here from the Glades, like, you need to go and look into that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so let's talk about crime because when you have a middle class that's missing, basically you're dealing with poverty right now. When your median household income is
below the poverty line.
Like when people in West Palm Beach have more than twice the amount per household than we make here. Yeah. That's a problem. But we are,
we're sitting on wealth,
but we're poor. And it's not all. I don't blame it on the system. I don't blame everything on the system.
No,
because at some point you have to take your destiny in your own hands.
Right.
All right. So there are programs. There is West Tech. There are opportunities out there. If you don't go and get those opportunities, if you don't go and take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you, then you can't blame the system for you not having the life that you want. And you don't even have to leave Pahokee.
Nah, you don't.
You don't have to leave. You can get your CDL. Yeah. There are a lot of things that you can do. And there are a lot of good industries that you can be a part of and still live in Pahokee and still live a good life. But poverty leads to crime everywhere. And it's not because people are just bad people. It's because people lack the resources to take care of themselves. So they have to, by any means necessary, I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feed my children. So I'm going to sell these drugs. I'm going to, I'm going to commit other crimes and things like that or whatever to support my family.
But you know what's so interesting though, man? Because I live in Belglade. And what like right now, man, the crime in Belglade and Pahokee is really, at least I'm talking about from my eyes. It's kind of low. Mm-hmm. You're not hearing about a lot, and it's scary. It scares me a little bit. It does, because I know we have the sheriff presence there and everything in this community, but I don't think that's what's really deterring people, right?
Right.
I really feel like there's something else going on. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know if it's good or bad, but you really can't. I don't know what to put. I don't know what it is. I don't know what to attribute it to. Mm-hmm. But let's go back to this poverty thing you were talking about, right? And education and stuff. Both you and I are teachers. Mm-hmm. Every day.
Yeah.
And I know you see it. I see it. You have kids that just who are almost being told that they don't need the education.
Well, okay. So not only are we dealing with crime, and it doesn't always have to be violent crime.
No.
But other crimes are being committed.
Right.
All right. That's just, it's a correlation with poverty. Right. You're gonna have crime. That doesn't mean that rich people don't commit crimes, because we know they do.
We know.
And we know people in middle class commit crimes as well.
Of course.
All right. They usually have a means of kind of getting off or whatever, or people turn a blind eye to them because of their status.
Right.
But generally when we talk about crime, it's usually associated with people who are in poverty.
Of course.
All right. So now let's talk about the culture. Because, with that comes another culture shift. And I think on the muck, when we grew up, we knew we were poor, but to be a child in the 80s in Pahokee, I think it was, for me, it was the best. The 80s and the 90s were like the best years ever.
Right.
We were... are more, I'd say, with the exception of crack. Being introduced to our community.
I was about to say, I was gonna let you have a little hiatus, but I'm about to say, like, bro, we had a little some other issue.
Right. But with the exception of that, but even in that though, even in that, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Nobody messed with children.
No.
Right.
No.
You had drug dealers. You had.
No.
You had hoes.
Yeah, all day.
You had, and that's what we grew up around.
Right.
But at the end of the day, children were off limits.
Yeah.
So there was still a level of respect there, even with drug dealers.
Right.
Even with prostitutes, even with all of that, we still had a level of respect, and we didn't mess with children, and elderly were not necessarily affected either.
Right.
All right. So there was still a level of respect and there was still a level of dignity.
Right.
All right.
So I agree.
I think that a lot of that brought in extreme individualism into our community. All right. People started kind of being about themselves. And
what brought that? What you think brought that?
I think it was just a part of the I think it's something that really did spread all over the country.
Yeah.
I think we kind of really got a little loose with our morals at that time.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But for us as children, it was the best time ever.
Oh, man. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Another thing that like really got me too is that I think, like I said, we lost our balance. We had a healthy balance. I remember, we had this one kid. I ain't gonna even say his name or whatever, but we knew his family had money. We knew his family had way more money than we did.
Right.
And we even called him Money Man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he played with us. He played with us. He hung out with us.
Right.
And things like that or whatever. And it was no issue.
Nah.
Right. So I think, when you hear people talk about in other cities, celebrities who, people who were well known actually lived in our communities too.
Right.
Dr. Umar kind of touched on that as well. Like, you know, that doctor lived right down the street
from you, right?
that lawyer, that dentist,
right?
all of these so-called important people,
right?
They live right down the street. We saw them, right? So it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Matter of fact, you saw. It wasn't a big deal to you if the guy down the street became what he saw, because you saw that. You saw that, like, and you had a level of respect.
Yeah.
For that, but I think, you know what? I think also Bill, and I'm about to tell you something I told some folks when I lived someplace else. I told them that Belglade, Pahokee, South Bay, we were a rural urban community, meaning that we so happened to be in a farming area, in a farming town, but we had urban problems. We had urban issues that infiltrated our rural community. Okay. Right? And so with that, you had those benefits of a rural community where you can meet your, play.
A wonderful place to raise children.
Raise children, like baseball. I mean, I played baseball from whatever. I was telling the guy today, I had Arabic friends, I had Hispanic friends, I had white friends. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was but then at the same time, we had a crack problem. I knew crackheads. I knew them every day. You know what I'm saying? I remember I was telling some kid was like calling another kid a rockhead. I said, you ain't never seen a rockhead before. You don't know what that look like. Yeah. I can tell you what a rockhead look like. I saw rock. I don't see rock. Yeah. I don't see rockheads riding with whole lazy boy chairs on their back, bruh, on a bicycle, stealing somebody's house. But at the same time, I can still remember, being able to go to certain places in the community and having a great time, despite these epidemics in the country, epidemics in the world that were happening. There was still this rural community. But I think also we were being but little did we know, it's now I'm realizing, little did we know, we were being told not to come back. I know that for sure in Belgrade. I know that from Belgrade.
What do you mean you were being told not to come back?
We were being, I'm gonna give you an example. I can remember in school, like the people that are that were from Belgrade, like that were our teachers and stuff like that. Some of them, maybe you listen to this, I'm just being honest what you told us. I can remember where they would be like, well, you better act right, or you gonna end up like them people. You gonna end up back here in Belgrade.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? You gonna end up back here, you like, and then so unconsciously you're being told, so coming back here is a downgrade.
It's a bad thing. You went out in the world and you failed.
You failed and you came back
because you're here.
You're here. Like
you're
here.
Supposed to go and stay away.
And so even to the day, I can tell. I tell folks, I'm back in Belgrade. Really? Why? I'm like, what do you mean why? It's a community like any other community. It's a great community to raise children. Like, what are you talking about? I told somebody, because I lived in New Orleans, and they're like, why'd you leave New Orleans? I'm like, because New Orleans is crazy.
New Orleans is crazy.
It's crazy. Now, listen, I got friends from New Orleans. You may be watching this. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And they know, you know what I'm saying? But even for them, they have the same, it's the same it's the same frame of mind, too, for them. It's like, oh, you left, you came back, you was someplace else and you came back to New Orleans? They say the same thing too. Yeah. Believe it or not. So, yeah, that's the thing.
So in dealing with things that contributed kind of to the downfall of our area, I can honestly say I was born in 1981.
Same here.
To see Pahokee in 2020.
Oh, boy.
It's not better than it was.
Almost 40 years ago, bro.
Right.
Yeah. Bro.
So all of these things actually, like I said, they contribute. Now, one of these things I got to add to it because, in my opinion, I believe that everything is good in its place.
Yeah.
And just like the soil was what started it, and then you added, the marina became another attraction that was good. I think sports also became another attraction because we started doing so well. We have a lot of people who've gone on to play professional sports and things like that or whatever, and I think that's great, and I think that's an inspiration to our children.
Right.
However, I think it should have been an added attraction,
Right.
and I don't think it should have become king of the muck.
Yeah.
And right now, we all know that football is king.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
All right?
I say unfortunately.
It's my thing is just it's a matter of balance, and the only reason I say that is because you have some guys who are just good. They're just good. They belong on the football field. They are good. And the thing is, you see it in them when they're young.
Yeah.
You see the superstar in them when they're young, and you can like, okay, that kid right there going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Like he is just that good. Like some children are just gifted like that.
Right.
But the issue with that is, and the reason I said we need the balance is because you have some children, because football is king, they grow up and they don't have those abilities.
Right.
But they want to play.
Yeah.
Because we've made it.
Yeah.
We've made it like,
Yeah.
you got to do this. Like it's because of where you're from, this is what you're going to do, right?
And what's crazy about that is that you have like a whole situation of mistaken identity now.
But my point is this. You have children who like for example, I had this kid, he was exceptional at math.
Right.
He was exceptional. I was actually substituting in South Bay at the time, and he got in trouble in class or something like that, and I was actually helping them establish their fun day for that day. So I was out on the PE field setting up and everything, and they sent them out there to me. Mm-hmm. So he kind of followed me around, helped me out, and all this other good stuff. And after we finished setting things up, I walked him back to class. When we walked back to the classroom, the children had already started working on their math worksheets. And it was one of those things where they have a bunch of problems on the sheet, a bunch of math problems, and you just go through them, and it's computing, basically.
Right.
You just, All right, so these children had already started.
Right.
And I didn't want to just dump them off in the classroom, so he got his paper, pencil, and he sat down, and I sat next to him. Mm-hmm. All right. And at first I wasn't paying attention. I was just kind of sitting there. But then I saw he was kind of moving pretty fast. And I'm like, no way this kid is getting all of these math problems right. No way he's getting all of them right going that fast.
Right.
So I decided to kind of look. So I'm looking. And I started from number 1, and I followed him. And he was getting every single one of them right, no problem.
My gosh.
He actually finished before everybody in the classroom finished.
Man.
And then he did something that made me think. Without saying a single word, he quietly stood up. He walked around his desk, and he looked back at me, and without speaking, he spoke to me. He had this little smile on his face, this little smirk, right?
Yeah.
And it was like he was telling me, "Oh, you thought I was stupid." Right? You thought I didn't, you know what I'm saying? You thought I didn't have it.
Right,
so what I'm
right.
saying is, and then that made me think, I said, wow, this child that's in South Bay, he can be an engineer one day. He could be a mathematician.
Come on,
he can be.
Come on.
Obviously, like, he's good.
Yeah.
He got every single one of them right, and he finished before everybody. And I said, wow, the world may never know. The world may never know how this kid is, because guess what? He's gonna want to do.
Yeah.
He's gonna want to play football for Glade Central, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, forget this. And that's the only issue that I have with the imbalance that we have.
Yeah.
Is that and he may or may not be a great athlete. It does, But my point is,
But the
you
perspective,
have people.
though. Yeah.
You have children who grow up, and that's all they want to do.
Right.
So they abandon their talents.
Man.
To try to hang with people who are really good at it naturally.
Yeah.
And that's the imbalance that we have. And I think part of that is our fault. And in many ways, I think from a cultural standpoint, I think we failed our children in many ways. Yeah. Because we, and without intentionally doing it, we're teaching them that, their other talents don't matter.
Right.
They're people that can sing.
Come on,
They're
bro.
people who are, like I said, good at math. They could be future engineers. They're children who can take things completely apart and put them back together again. We have so many children who are gifted.
We have rocket scientists.
Right, we do.
We have rocket scientists literally walking around us, and we're.
But what is it? How is a child supposed to feel when they work hard to make A's and B's?
Yeah.
Right. And the city doesn't applaud them.
Right.
The people don't applaud them.
Right.
They applaud the children who were, C's and D's and, barely making it, barely eligible to even play. They're applauding those children.
Right.
So what incentive do I have as a student for trying to make A's, straight A's and B's?
But then check this out. I think it's also a problem. Go back to that culture piece that you were talking about, bro. It's also a problem with the culture. Like overall culture, not just, let's say our community is Belgrade, but it's overall culture in America right now for a long time. Let's go back to that drug culture. That drug culture was the idea that it's not necessarily the selling of the drugs. It's the fact is that this was quick money. So now we're looking for the next quick, we're not looking for the next quick thing to get. So to us, so we're selling our kids is that the next quick thing to do is become an athlete. That's the quick money. Yeah. So you can be 20, you can be, if you're good, you can be 22, 21, 22, you can be a millionaire.
Right. But they don't tell you this.
Right.
For every Janoris Jenkins, there's going to be like 100 that fall, that don't get anywhere close to it. And herein lies the problem. Janoris has always been a great athlete.
Yeah.
And some people, they're made for this thing. And he's where he is for a reason. And other people like him. They're where they are for a reason.
Yeah.
All right? If the problem comes when you have people who are not as talented, who, they don't have that, but they abandon. And my thing is, when you say, this is all I want to do.
Right.
And you don't make it, then it's like, okay, what do I do now? Because nothing else was ever important.
Right.
Me being a great student, me going to college, and college isn't for everybody. I get that.
But you can still. But there are things. There are tools. There are things that you have, that you possess, talents and gifts that you possess, that you need to cultivate.
Yeah.
Whether you go to college to cultivate it, whether you go to a trade school to cultivate, you need to cultivate it someplace, because you have to have some form of education to get it working, right?
Right. So who does that in terms of who participates in the development of our children so that they can look within themselves?
Yeah.
And now we're talking about within, elevating within.
Right.
To know themselves and to explore themselves.
Right.
And to understand what they have to offer the world. And guess what? If you want to play because you want to play, that's fine. But just know that that's not all you have to offer to the world. All right. And a prime example, one of my classmates, I'll tell you, since elementary school, man, this guy, he hustled since elementary school. I'm talking about if you didn't have a pencil and he had a bunch of pencils, you weren't getting that pencil for free.
Right.
You were going to give up a nickel or something, right?
Right.
He's always had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Come on.
Well, today he owns a fleet of food trucks, and he's doing exceptionally well for himself.
Come on, man.
Right? This is somebody who I don't ever even remember this dude even dribbling a basketball or throwing a football or any of that other stuff or whatever, but he found a way. He found out, he knew what he was good at,
right,
and he cultivated what he was good at, and he became successful.
Yeah.
You have people like Derek Barry as well, who is doing exceptionally well in real estate. He has his own company. He does exceptionally well for himself, and he takes care of his family. Like, we need to see more examples of people, of everyday people, who recognized what their gifts were and what they were good at. Yeah. And they cultivated those gifts, and then they created a way to create a wonderful lifestyle for themselves, and without.
And I think on that same idea, I think we have to get to the point where we celebrate the things people need to be doing. Like, we need to stop celebrating the sexy, the popular. Like, we need to stop. Well, no, let me hear what I'm saying. Hear me on this one. Because what happens is we live in a culture right now that whatever's the hot thing right now, right? Whatever's hot, that's what we all got to be on, right? But that's not good for a community though. That's not good for a community, especially a rural community, because then what happens is you have a bunch of people going towards things that are not in, that's not even their lane, right? And then so you got parents teaching kids, you got people encouraging other people to do things that's not even in their lane, that's not even their frame, they're not even built for that situation, right? And so now you have people living false lives, living false whatevers, and when they better at something else, they're good. I mean, they have the talent. I know folks out here in our community in the Glades area, from Pahokee to Belglade. I mean, they can cook you up something, man, that ain't like you gonna get food you ain't never ate before in your life. They know how to cook. You got other folks, they know how to create things straight from their hands.
Right.
But they're not using those things because they're around here they're clout chasing certain things, right? And so when you have that type of situation, now they're teaching their children to clout chase. When you have that problem, that's why we got people. You have people, I see people whose child, like, they're getting mad that their child is not playing a sport. And you're looking at the child, you're like, your child ain't even built to be playing that sport. First of all, I get it, but you're pressing them. You're pressing them.
And mind you, I gotta say this.
Say it.
You know, even average athletes from Pahokee, you know, even pretty good athletes from Pahokee often don't get a chance because the competition is so high. Even same thing in Belglade.
Yeah.
The competition is so high. So many people are so good that if that person that rode the bench went somewhere else, there'll probably be a starter.
Yeah.
Right. So the competition is there.
Yeah.
I don't blame a child for wanting to participate. All right. I don't blame the parents for wanting their children to participate. My thing is, just while you're participating, understand that that's not all you have to offer.
Exactly.
That's it. Just understand. And when I say balance, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just understand that there's more. You have more to offer than just that.
Yeah.
Because if you really look at the odds of you making it to, you know, the NFL, the NBA, or whatever, like, you got to understand there are a lot of people from all over the world who are competing for those positions.
Right.
Now, you can do it. All things are possible. And I got to say this: all things are possible, but all things are not probable. And that's the balance to anything can happen, right?
And I'll add to that. All things are not needed. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, and this might create some issues. We don't need another football player from Belgrade or Pahokee. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna give you my perspective. And this will be very controversial. What is it bringing to our community? What value
Okay, I'm
does
glad
it
you
add?
said that. I'm glad you said that.
I mean, at least for Belglade, Pahokee's a little different. Y'all got,
But we
for
deal
Belglade,
with similar issues.
for
But
Belglade.
you know what? I'll say this.
The athletes that have, and I know some of those guys personally, it has not added any value to the community.
Okay.
At all.
All right. So let me say this about what you just said. I think we do, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
The problem is not the next NFL football player. That's not the problem. All right. The problem is when you look at local government. The problem is when you look at your city, you know, specifically.
Yeah.
All right. And the people in it.
Yeah.
If I had millions of dollars right now,
Yeah.
I don't trust anybody with it.
Yeah.
Because trust me, a lot of these guys have given and they saw what happened when they gave.
Yeah. And
they said, okay, I don't trust anybody there to invest my money in this or to invest my money in that.
Right.
There's nobody who's ready. There are a lot of people who are ready to give.
Yeah.
But they can't because they're not trustworthy people where we're from. And in any capacity you want to look at that in, whether it be giving money to the city for particular things.
Yeah.
All right? Money go missing, I'm not going to give my money anymore.
Right.
Right? Until I find somebody that I can trust
right.
to do what I want, what I need, or what needs to be done with the money that I give.
Right.
I don't think it's the athletes. And the only issue that I have with that is that it's almost like an unwritten rule, and you see it time and time again. It doesn't matter whether they're from another city or another state or whatever. The thing is, I think we have a system to where a lot of people are inspired by people who are from where they're from, who go off into play professional sports. A lot of people are inspired by that.
Yeah.
The problem is inspiration doesn't change a city.
Yeah.
Empowerment does.
Exactly.
All right? And I think that I think their hearts are in the right places. I think they want to empower their people. I just think that like we're not ready for them. What are they gonna put their money in that they can actually trust somebody to make real, lasting changes in their community?
Right.
All right. So all I'm left with as a millionaire is inspiration.
Right.
And inspiration is never really good enough. It's about empowerment. Teaching and helping people to lift themselves up, to light their own fire within themselves, to discover within themselves what they want to do in life and to go after that and to give back just like they want to.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think that's a part of it. That's a part. But I think in some cases that's a well thought out process. But I don't believe, at least for Berkeley, I don't believe most of those guys are in that place. They're not in that frame of mind because their actions outside of the city don't show that. It doesn't show that they have a conscious, because there's ways to do things. Like there's ways to do things for your community through other vessels, right? Because of course, we have the school board, you have all these things. You have means through there to do some things, right? And you could use those means. Those means are there for you. I believe, I say that, and not in a condescending way to those guys.
Right.
I think what it is that nobody instructed some of these guys. I don't think anybody instructed them to understand, hey, let me figure out a way to better my community. I don't think anybody instructed them. I think everybody just wanted them to go get a lot of money and just give it to us, right?
See but that's the issue.
You feel what I'm saying?
Money is not going to solve the problem.
All right.
So here it is though.
Yeah.
All right. So giving money,
right,
is not going to solve the problem.
Exactly.
Now, giving money and putting your money into, quite frankly, I'm gonna be honest with you, as a life coach, I think a lot of people need therapy. All right. And a lot of people need coaching and development.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. All right.
Yeah.
If I give you money and you're not right, you're not prepared for that, I'm wasting my money.
Of course.
And so if they could create opportunities and if our people even wanted it, that's another thing. A lot of our people don't, we don't do therapy. We don't do, but we need it.
You need it.
All right. We need it.
Yeah.
But we avoid it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you've gone through that process and you come out of it a better person,
right?
You come out more prepared for real change in your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So until you see a therapist, until you get a life coach to help you develop to the point where you can actually take advantage of money being
given to
you,
right?
Then there's no amount of money that I can give you that will change you. I'm gonna tell you about poverty.
Yeah.
You know how many people hit the lottery for millions and are broke in a couple years?
Come on, man.
That's a poverty mindset.
Yeah.
So money is not the problem.
Nah.
All right. So we need services that will help the people who want to be in a better place.
Right.
Because everybody doesn't want to be in a better place. Some people are fine with life on the muck as it is, and they're not trying to do anything different. All right, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that
at all.
As long as you're not violating other people,
right,
there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is this.
But here's the other thing, though. Not to cut you off, I'll keep that thought. But remember, we're talking about, because what you're saying, I see where you're going with that. But I want to make it clear that I think some of these guys were never taught how to. I don't think they were taught that what you have, what you've been blessed with, right? This could be used to benefit your people, right? And benefit, it doesn't have to be all the people, but it can benefit certain people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were never taught that. So it's not a shot on them as individuals. I don't want anybody to get that case, but I feel like a lot of the issues that we have, because right now we have a lot of people that they're encouraging children to do athletics. And once again, I told you, like going back to something I said before, our sweat has no value.
Right. But look at it this way. I think they were. I'll look at. Okay, so my thing is this: if you worked your behind off in high school,
Right.
you got a scholarship to go to college.
Right.
All right. I'm not minimizing anything somebody does because that's hard.
That's hard.
All right.
Yeah,
Wait. And then you go off to play professional sports.
Right.
Okay. Now, in my mind, and even from what I've heard from guys who've gone off,
Yeah.
I've always heard them talk about giving back, right? And my thing is this: if they work that hard to get to where they got, so that they can have the resources and the connections to make a difference, they did their job.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think they did their job.
Right.
All right. Now, figuring out all the other intricacies of trying to make that happen.
Yeah, I see.
Where I see it, what I think is you have somebody who has the resources, but maybe that's all they needed to do. All they needed to do was work hard, get there. Now they got the connections, they got the resources. Now over here, you have somebody who knows exactly what to do, but they don't have the connection and the resources to do it.
Yeah.
But they know exactly what to do.
Right.
All right. So you bring those two together, and you got somebody with resources, and you got somebody who knows exactly what to do. You bring those two together, and you can create change.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now another issue is, do they want it? Do the people want it?
Yeah.
And it's not that you say, "Hey, I want it." It's what your actions show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you showing me that I'm making the right type of investment? And I think the empowerment is when you find people who are where you're from after you've got the resources. You find people where you're from who really want to take their lives to the next level, and they're willing to go through whatever process they need to go through in order to do that.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I think that money invested would benefit more, and rather than just kind of shelling out money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't want to do that. You don't want to,
But I think a lot of them have attempted to do that in the past, and I think they were burned.
Yeah.
And now they don't trust nobody.
They don't trust anybody.
All right. So until you show me an organization that got their stuff together, that is willing to be transparent, and willing to show me where my money is going.
Right.
All right. And not only that, if it's in children, I want to see a product. I want to see what my money is doing. Until you can show me that, I'm sorry, I can't continue to give my money. I can't.
Yeah.
Until you show me.
Yeah.
Until you find an organization that can do what can benefit our children and the adults.
Yeah.
All right. What can empower our children and empower our adults. If you can't show me that, I'm wasting my money, man. I'm wasting. I don't care how much money I got. I'm wasting it.
But you know what though? Like in the case of, I'm gonna give you an example. Like in Pahokee, and I credit the Bowden Foundation and all that they were doing. He got the stadium named after him. Right? He didn't have to go. He went to the right. He got the right people to go to the right people to get the stadium named after him. Right? In Belglade, they could have did the same thing. A group of them could have got together and figured out, talk to some people, say, how can we get our names on this? How can we build a facility? What can we do? And that's why I said I don't think they were taught. You know what I'm saying? And
years ago now, I did hear that Riedel Anthony had an opportunity for people who could sing, to actually audition for America's Got Talent or something like that. One of those shows, American Idol or America's Got Talent. I did hear about that a long time ago. That Riedel Anthony wanted to create that opportunity, and it didn't necessarily turn out well.
Right.
In my opinion, retailers, listen, there are people out here that are talented. They can sing.
Yeah.
I want to provide an opportunity for them.
Yeah.
He did his job. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
he did his job.
I agree. I get that, but I'm talking about. Okay. Let's look. We're gonna compare. We're gonna do a Belle Glade to Pahokee comparison. Right?
Okay.
Belle Glade. The number of NFL athletes that we've had to go compared to Pokey's is astronomical for just the NFL.
Right.
It's crazy. It ain't even right.
All right.
Right? We have Super Bowl champs from our school, right? From Glade Central, right? And I'm not shooting them. I don't want you to think I'm shooting. I don't want them to think I'm shooting them, but I just feel like nobody said to them, I feel like nobody taught them or nobody encouraged them in the right direction to say, hey, man, why don't you think about, you ain't got to give me no money. So why don't you, the thing that put you where you at, right? Why don't you set up a better situation for the kids coming behind you to have a better facility than you had?
Okay.
Why don't you work that out, right?
Okay.
I think the people that were around them, I believe some of the people that have been around them were only looking out for themselves.
That's
You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
And they're not telling them, hey man, why don't you think about those coming behind you, right? And so that's why I don't blame them per se, because I don't blame them. It's not that, because a lot of times they don't see where a lot of their money going, right? And so I feel like there wasn't an active, for the athlete, because for me, I feel like, and I think it's just this thing for me personally with athletics, right? I feel like this preoccupation with athletics in our community is not bringing us the fruit that we were expecting. It's not bringing us the fruit that we're expecting.
All right.
And we got to go back to our roots, like you said before. We need to go back to the stuff that can bring fruit. There's stuff that can really benefit everybody. Right. And I think if we, and that's why I say we the preoccupation with it, because here's the other thing about it now. Here's the flip side about it now. The people that have been selling us, that have been trying to create a narrative about our community, also created this narrative that, they only got athletes over there.
Right.
We don't have nothing else over here.
Right.
We only got athletes over here.
And for the record, we have
everybody.
We have surgeons. We
rocket
have
scientists. We got cats working in
NASA. Yeah, we got engineers.
Come on, man.
We have real estate moguls or whatever you want to call it.
We had Grammy Award winning people, man.
Right.
All
we
that
have,
kind of stuff, man. All that.
IT specialists, and I'm talking about high level
people in the military, high level military people.
Right. We have a lot of
government
amazing people who do amazing things. We have nurses. We have we got it all.
Everything. Architects, contractors, everything, man. And I think the thing about it is there's this narrative that's been created about our communities that didn't come from us. It didn't come from us, right?
So if it didn't come from us, and my thing is, what are we doing to change that? Or what are we gonna do to change how we're perceived? Because I'm gonna tell you, when you go places, and it's crazy, everywhere you go, somebody has heard of Pahokee, right?
Yeah.
And they, more than likely, it's either sports related or it's related to crime or, something else negative or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere you go, if you in a whole nother state and, somebody has heard about Pahokee, right? Nobody talks about the engineers and all this other good stuff or whatever that we have. Nobody talks about our military personnel and whom I think we should definitely look at as heroes. Shout out to Zachariah Sepulveda. Used to be my neighbor. The day I met this guy, I'm talking about, he's always been one of the toughest dudes I ever met in my life.
Come on, man.
I'm not surprised that he's a soldier.
Yeah.
All right.
I got one of my former students, Jimmy St. Jean, currently in the military, man. He's right now in Quantico. He is a what do you call that? he trains incoming officers, like guys that went to college and they come in as officers. He trains them in artillery, fighting, and all that kind of stuff. This dude straight from Belgrade.
All right. So, okay, let's talk about. I mean, we've talked about the local government, which is I think is another thing that's kind of led to the decline in our areas, and it's how Pahokee, Belgrade, South Bay have been managed over the past 40 years.
Or more.
Or more. Yeah.
Let's say more.
So,
more than that. Yeah. It didn't start in our generation.
Right.
And
like I said, that's another thing. I think you know, when you elect people who don't have the interest, you know, our best interest in you know, in mind.
Yeah.
I think who don't protect the interests of, you know, Pahokee or Belgrade or South Bay, I think these things are gonna happen. What the thing is, are we really producing good leaders who could who are from here? Even if they're not from here, it's fine. But you know, I think it's important to have good relationships with the people in your community. I know you can't please everybody, but I think relationships are very important.
Yeah.
I think the people of your city, generally speaking, I think they need to like you. I just, there seems to be a divide in our communities, and I don't know if we're, you know, gonna really be able to turn that around. It seems like we've been on a steady decline. It seems like you know, we're at a standstill, and you see little things, little projects and things like that or whatever being done, but Pahokee is not the same that it was when I was a child.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've had the right people in place. I don't think we've really had the right people in place over the years to kind of really turn things around.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that kind of concerns me. The people, we haven't set anything up for the people who have gone out and learned things to come back and on the ground level actually contribute in terms of teaching you know, our youth what they know.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have IT specialists. We have all kinds of people who are successful in all kinds of industries, and we don't take advantage of it. We don't take advantage of that. We don't welcome them back. We don't highlight them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
it's like if I didn't know the person personally, I would never know, you know, what they do. So
right.
a lot of people really don't know what these people are doing out there, and they're out there doing phenomenal things, and they can't bring it to Pahokee.
Right.
Why aren't we, you know, creating avenues for these people to come back and contribute, start programs? Like if I'm an IT specialist, why isn't there, you know, some type of program that will allow me to, even if I'm coming back for just to do a workshop and teach people about computers, teach people about cybersecurity, help people get their certifications, right? Straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And they can work from home remotely and make $50,000 and $60,000 living on the muck.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing stuff like that?
Creating a new middle class.
Right. Why aren't we welcoming in?
I think because here's the thing, you got to remember, politicians, man. Politics is a very interesting realm. Let's call it realm. It's a realm, and I say it like that because you're dealing. Politicians serve those who put them in office, and when I talk about, I'm not talking about the people that voted them into office. It's the person that funded their campaign. Okay. That's who they serve, and I think even in local government, sometimes people think only that in you know, federal and all that state. Even in local government, especially in local government, you need you know who that person is working for by the decisions that they're making, right?
Okay. So fair enough.
And I think what we have to understand is that we have to start in our communities. We have to get to the point where we're not giving leaders. We give the leaders.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Because we got leaders, but we have to give the leaders. We have to say, no, this is the person. And I think this goes back to what you're talking about with training. When it comes to leaders, we have to train the leaders. We have to train the people that we want to push our interest. And what does that mean? That means sometimes we take somebody under our wing and then we say, okay, we're going. This is how we think. This is our group think. In the
Right.
words of Dr. Claude Anderson,
Okay.
this is our group think. This is what we want. Now we're going to push you. We are going to support you to be our voice in this chamber.
Okay.
You're going to be our voice in this place. And we're not only going to just have one of you, we're going to have two or three of y'all in this place, right? And I think, because when we have that mindset, when we have that think, I think that's when we can truly go in and really say, all right, now then when that person doesn't do what we want, we let them know, we come knocking on their door and say, remember, we put you here, right? Now, if you want, we can take you out. I know some other people are knocking on your door and promising you everything. Remember, we put you here. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think we have to go back to that. We have to go back to, like you said, and I don't know, I'm going back to these words, our roots. We gotta go to our roots. We have to go to the mechanisms that helped us, that strengthened us, right? Right. And I think what happens is when we go away from those mechanisms, thinking that we can, because here's the problem: if we're doing for either for clout. We're doing it for clout or to be, I'm the first. We got that problem. Yeah. I'm the first. Who cares if you're the first and you ain't doing nothing?
Right.
I don't care if you're the first. You got to do something for us, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we have to get to the point where we say to people, hey, we need you in this position to fight for our interest. So when it comes to Pahokee, the Belglade, South Bay, the people the young men and young women that we're training, we're not training them to go someplace else to serve other people. Mm-hmm. We are training them. We're telling you to go to school. We're telling you to go learn this thing, to come back, and you're going to be our voice. Mm-hmm. You're going to be our mechanism to get what we want again. And I think that's what we got to train our children and our families to think about.
Right. But we also, as a people, we have to do our part.
Yeah.
All right. Group economics is important. We kind of got away from that, and we became a bunch of individuals.
Yeah.
And when you see yourself as just an individual and not a part of a collective, you don't realize how your actions not only impact you but impact other people.
Exactly.
And if everybody's being an individual and everybody's looking at their actions as just their own, not affecting other people, then we got problems.
Big problems.
All right. So that's another issue. The future of Muck City. What do you think?
I say I'm an optimist.
Okay.
I'm an optimist. Even with some of the ways I talk, I'm still an optimist. I believe if I do my job as a person in my community, the people that I have in front of me, I have a community of people in front of me. If I talk to them and I explain to them their power, and that our power is in our unity, and I stick to it, and then I encourage those that are younger to come back, our future is bright. And we tell them to come back, and we're preparing things for them.
Right.
Right? You know what I'm saying? As we do that, the future for Muck City is bright.
Okay.
Right? But I have to do my part. I am not expecting some outside force to come and do that for me. I'm not expecting any governmental force to come do that for me. I have to encourage other people like myself that grew up here, that remember these very wonderful times and dark times at the same time, but at the same time, good times, right?
Right.
And encouraging them to say, hey man, come back, right? You have something to offer. Your skill sets are translatable anywhere. Mm-hmm. There's some people that their skill sets can translate anywhere, and helping them understand, hey man, put your people to work. Hey, let's find something. Let's put you have a business. Put your people to work. Yeah. Figure out a way. Let's figure out a way. Let's talk about it. I have right now. I have two guys that I know that have businesses in other cities. I've been talking to them. I've been like, hey man, how can you bring your business here? How can Belglade be the hub for your business, but we're servicing Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade County? All right. Let's think outside of the box, right? Let's think outside of the box. The same way you mentioned before, Pahokee was this hub for South Florida. How can we become a hub? Belglade, South Bay, Pahokee, become a hub again for business, for industry, but it's people that were from here and helping them see the value in that. And then also, I think that's where the future gets bright. That we're encouraging our friends, or encouraging our classmates, encouraging those that are out. Say, hey man, there is a place here for you. Don't get caught up in the people that are showing you all the horror stories, right?
Okay, so when we talk about business and industry, and we talk about attracting businesses and things like that, the way that you attract business is to, be creative and develop in that middle class.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's not enough attention kind of given to that. We want businesses to come to the muck, but we don't have a solid middle class.
Right.
Right. People with disposable income.
Right.
Right. If people are poor, why would I bring a business to that place if the people don't have money? So here's the thing.
No sense.
Right. So when businesses look at demographics,
there you go.
They look at education levels.
Yep.
All right. We have a long way to go in terms of, when we talk about bachelor's degrees or higher.
Yeah.
All right. We're pretty good with, high school graduate rates and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's increasing a little bit. But when we talk about bachelor's degrees and higher, businesses look at that.
Yeah.
When we talk about median income, businesses look at that.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me you want to try to bring a business to Muck City?
Yeah.
All right. But everybody's poor.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you got 1 million churches, right? You got 1 million churches. And guess what? People are tithing and giving to those churches. People who are already poor are spending their money, are giving their money to the churches that they attend. And they're already poor.
Yeah, man.
So that does not support any type of business in terms of what they're looking at, right? They look at all of these things when they say, okay, well, how is this going to benefit me? I can't bring my business to Muck City because we cool.
Yeah.
Right? I got a business to make money.
Yeah.
And if there's no opportunity for me to make enough money, then I have to do what I have to do. I have to go somewhere
make some money.
Okay, prime example.
Yeah.
Quar is no longer in Pahokee.
Yeah.
All right, and guess what? Some people,
I hate that,
and oh man, shout out to Quar.
Man,
y'all got the best veggie wraps.
Wrap.
They got the best food, man. That was amazing. I forgot all about Papa Jimmy's and all the other places because of Quar.
That
food was so
Quar
good.
had me eating healthy during lunch.
Yeah,
and
the
I'm
smoothies
like,
were perfect. Everything was perfect. But guess what? We can't. That family has a business.
Yeah.
They're a business first, right?
Yeah.
And just because we know them, and just because we're cool with them, it doesn't mean that they should stay.
No.
All right. Because guess what? The demographic. And think about it. Think about the chance that they took.
It's not just the demographic,
but
bro.
think about the chance they took.
Right.
They didn't say, hold up, let me look at the demographics before I establish a business. They jumped out on faith and said, listen, we're going to do this business. We're going to do it in Pahokee, and we're going to see what happens. And they gave it a chance in Pahokee.
Yeah.
Now, it has nothing to do with anything personal.
No,
all right?
No.
But they're going to be, I think starting at the beginning of February, they're going to be in the Wellington Green Mall.
Yeah.
Think about that. They're in the Wellington Green Mall. They're going to be in the Wellington Green Mall.
Yeah.
They have high traffic.
Yeah.
They have the demographics to support what they're doing from a business standpoint. It's never personal when it comes down to business. All right. So this is the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
The demographics that support all these other businesses that exist over there in Wellington.
Yeah.
All right. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They did their homework. All right.
But you know what's so funny
they
though?
tried. They tried.
I heard a part of that was also going back to the government, or that little strip mall. It can't keep people because it's too expensive. When I heard, I was like, wait. When somebody told me that, it's like it can't keep businesses because whoever owns it, they keep the rent high. So
it is what it is.
It doesn't make financial sense for a business to stay there, right? Even if they may be making money,
right.
But if the rent's too high for this community that already has a low demographic as far as financial demographic, low medium income, and you're making the rent high there also at the same time, that doesn't make sense. So you have another issue.
Right. So, and we lost another business.
Right.
So, like I said, at the end of the day, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna be very successful, and I'm excited for them.
Man.
Even though I love the smoothies, I listen. I spent my money there faithfully.
Yeah, man. They got a lot of my. They got a lot of my money.
Man, listen, the food was amazing, man. Oh my
Yeah, a
God.
lot of my money, man.
You know what? I'm gonna have to hit the Wellington Green.
Hey, Quar. Hey, listen.
we coming to see you.
Not just that. Hey, man, put a spot on the show. Put a spot on the show, man.
We coming. Hey, is the thing still on right there?
Yeah, we recording.
Okay, just black.
It's just black. The battery. That battery died, but we still recording.
So,
but, hey, bro, I think we're gonna have to wrap this up, bro.
Okay, so the future of Pahokee, the future of Muck City, future of Belglade, future of South Bay. I think it all depends on what the people decide to do.
Yeah.
I think we really need to stop and take a look at ourselves.
Yeah.
And we really need to kind of rethink a lot of things. I think we need therapy. We need personal development.
Yes.
Because
I believe it.
You know, like Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created the problem in the first place.
Right.
So at some point we have to mature. We have to evolve as people.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, we're gonna have to develop into that, you know, people who are aware of themselves enough to say, you know what, I need to contribute to my town. I need to contribute to my city.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to do that, though.
Yeah.
If everybody doesn't do it, one or two people, it's not going to happen.
Nah.
We have to collectively say, listen, some people, I need help. I need, and I don't need you throwing money at me. I need therapeutic services.
Yeah.
I need other programs that are going to help me with my development. I need a life coach.
Yeah.
You know, I need somebody who can help me figure out what industry would work better for me.
Yeah.
What industry I'm naturally gifted in.
That's right.
I need people like that to come in and to help me. Now, if you're going to spend money on that and getting those people in. And, you know, and like I say, I think it all boils down to the people's willingness to say, you know what, I need that type of help because I want to take my life to the next level. And I want to be the new middle class on the Muck.
Yeah.
And once we get that new middle class, I'm telling you, the school grades are going to go up.
Yeah.
Because middle class people think differently.
Yeah.
All right. The school grades are going to go up.
Yeah.
Businesses, the demographics will better support businesses coming to the Muck and things like that.
But you're gonna have people that got money to start businesses. That's just gonna be the reality.
Yeah.
So I think like everything you're saying, because I think that develop, like just these talks that we're having right here, this can start people on the journey to what you're talking about.
And the middle class can be a part of the rebranding of the Muck. If you have if you've increased that middle class, now you have lower crime.
Yep.
Right. You have, like I said, education is going to be better.
Yeah.
All of these things are going to be better just by creating a solid middle class. Are people who think higher and say, you know what, I want to make Pahokee better than it's ever been before.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it's going to take. Other than that, I'm sorry. Businesses are not going to invest their money.
No.
Just because they like you. And just because I'm from Pahokee and I'm a millionaire, that does not mean I'm going to shell out all my money either. Listen, I'm going to put my money where I see that it's going to work. And I think once we start doing that, once we start showing people that they can trust us with what they invest in us, I think we'll get more. Yeah. Period. Yeah. All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed this podcast.
This was good,
we had a lot. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love this. This was good, man. And I think there's still so much to talk about on this whole topic. And I think as we dive in more, because it goes more, but like some of the stuff they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not unique to our community. Mm-hmm. I believe they'll help other people in other communities that are like ours, right? Yeah. And they're looking for solutions. Mm-hmm. And the solutions are there. Yeah. They are there. We just have to help. We got to help each other get to that point where we say, hey, y'all, let's start thinking outside.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's start thinking different. Let's get that help. Let's get that mental health help. Let's get that person that can help you and that can guide you.
Get you some life coaches. I'm one of them.
Yeah, you got a certified, branded, good life coach right here. I'm telling y'all, get with him. Get with your boy. And he's from the Muck. And I think, here's the thing, y'all. Listen, and I know some of you are watching, this is not a plug. It is a plug, but it's not a plug.
It is what it is.
But what we're telling you is I believe we have to get to the point where we stop this mentality that other people's ice is colder than our ice. We got to get out that mentality.
Okay.
And I say that like, and I'm not saying that because I'm pushing something. It's because I understand that we are in a place. When I look at all of our communities, I see people walking around, and they are walking. I'm watching literally. I'm watching walking mental health cases.
Right.
I mean, when you see a parent, we work in schools, and when you see a parent, every time you see them, whether it's morning, afternoon, school function, evening function, they have the same dress attire. They're dressed in a way that shows somebody that just woke up out of bed, that woke up, like, you're letting me know you're in a state of depression. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
We got parents that are in a state of depression. They're in a state of, and they're raising children in this state of depression.
Mm-hmm.
They're teaching their children that this is normal, this state that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a bunch of people who need to be taken out of this state of depression. And one great way is to get with people that can help you out of this situation, help you out of these places. Because if we can't get out of that, because now you're gonna be making mistake after mistake, because you're in a dark place.
Mm-hmm.
We got people walking, like, I literally see walking zombies.
Yeah. But you know what? I agree. I just think that, our people really need hope. I think that there are a lot of people who had a lot of dreams, and for whatever reason, they weren't able to self-actualize. Which, the goal of every human being within them is to become their ultimate self.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, when someone is not allowed to be their ultimate self, to express themselves naturally, and to see the reality of, wow, this is what I've become.
Yeah.
This was my dream. An unfulfilled person, you got to understand that's depression.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I was not able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And we have people who, they lose hope.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do next.
Yep.
What do I do? Because I thought that this was what was going to create a good life for me, and that didn't work out for me. So now what do I do?
And they're stuck.
Now, do I blend in with everybody else who went through the same thing? And that's usually what happens.
Yep.
Do I start drinking more?
Yep.
Do I start partying more?
Yep.
Do I run through as many women, as possible, and just try to play that game and just kind of blend in? I think we often try to do things to kind of cover up the fact that we don't really feel good about ourselves, but there is no solution to our problem.
Yeah.
Like, there is a solution, but you're made to feel like there's no solution. So you just kind of blend in and accept life for what it is.
Yeah.
I think that, whether, maybe I need to do some workshops and some seminars and things like that, on the muck, to help people kind of, discover more things about themselves.
Yeah.
So they can see that they still have something to give. I don't care if you were a superstar in high school 20, 30 years ago, and you're here and you might be 40 or 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
There's still some things that you're good at, and there's still some things
man,
that you
got
can
so
do.
much life to give,
all right?
man.
So, but people need to be guided.
Yep.
Through a process where they can see that.
Exactly.
Right now, just walking around, a lot of people don't see that, and they think they're done. They're just waiting to die. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. But they have so much more to offer. They have so much more to offer, man. They have so much more to offer their children and their grandchildren, and I think we need to help people see that in themselves. Yeah. And I think if we do that, and if we could do that with enough people, I think the muck would be a so much better place, and I think our future would be so much brighter.
Yeah.
If we could get people to get there within themselves.
Yeah, man.
That's why I always say I like to see people elevate within. Yeah. Because that's where it all starts. If you are afraid, don't worry about it, man. Just get some help. Yeah. There are tons of resources out there. There are tons of services out there, and when people see you doing good for yourself and actually changing, and they see that you're serious, more people are more likely to participate in terms of helping you get along. Yeah. Get along your way and discover. Yeah. So, I don't care if you even in church, man. Oftentimes, you see people in church and they've been in church for 20 years and they haven't changed. All right, and it's not because of the preacher.
No,
It's not the religion.
No,
Oftentimes,
that's where they at.
if you're not right within yourself, and if you haven't reached that thing within yourself, if you haven't discovered great things about yourself, you don't have the confidence to really use what you learn in church.
Yeah.
Right? And so a lot of people are stuck, even people who come to church. So for the churches out there, if you really want people to grow, if you really want people to develop, and if you really want to make a difference in your community for real, like, you need to have some people who are therapists. You need to have some people who are life coaches.
Yeah.
You need to bring these people in, and you need to work with these people, because a lot of people are sweeping things under the rug.
The pastor can't
and they're
solve
not getting
everything.
any better.
The pastor can't solve everything.
Right.
He cannot answer every question.
Right.
But believe it or not, and I went to seminary. The Bible doesn't have an answer for every. I know people who Bible got an answer for everything. Yeah, in context. But some things you need to sit down with a person, and you need to talk about some things that you've been through, and you need to talk to somebody that can help you unpack it properly,
and somebody you can trust, and somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Right, that can help you.
Somebody
unpack
who will
that
protect
thing.
you, and somebody who's safe to talk to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I've dealt with this. I've talked to clergy, and they'll put your business out there. They'll be preaching about your stuff. And the following Sunday, they'll be preaching on you. But the thing is, you say things in confidence, and you want to deal with people who are professional enough to keep that to themselves and to respect your privacy. You're opening up to them because you want to change. You want to do better for yourself. All right. So in that, there's a certain level of professionalism that we need to have when we're talking to people. Stop spreading people's business. Stop talking about people who said things to you in confidence. Yeah. And that's where trust is built. All right? Because if you hold that, then they'll be likely to share more. Yeah. And it's all about that person's growth. So,
bruh, man, this was good.
This was good.
Hey, man, I can't wait for the next episode, bruh. I can't wait for the next episode and this series.
You know what? I want to hear. I'm gonna try to get Alvin Dean to the next one.
Hey, man, let's get him in here.
Nobody. Oh man.
Yeah, let's get him up in here,
all right,
man.
Yeah.
Let's get him up in here, man. Well, y'all, this is Elevate From Within podcast.
The State of the Muck.
State of the Muck. Hey, man, continue share this with your friends. Let them know about what we're doing, and so that we can get more people out here, so we can help, so we can elevate our community and get it to where we want it to be. This is your boy Mo,
and this is Derek B. We out.
We out.